Time Montreal won back-to-back to open a series in overtime was 75 years ago against the Detroit Red Wings, and you can guess who scored both overtime goals. That's why he's a legend, Rocket Richard.
Wow.
So it's Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Caulfield out against Cirelli, Hagel, who has a Gordie Howe hat trick tonight, and Nikita Kucherov, who forced this overtime session. And a giveaway here. Kucherov bumped off the puck by Suzuki. Moser follows up. There's Brandon Hagel along the boards, feeding it back towards Moser. A bouncing puck to Kucherov. Watched by Slavkovsky. A good stick to knock it off his stick, but the Lightning get it back. Hagel can't force that through, and now Montreal breaks out. Here's Suzuki over the line. Slavkovsky on the right side. Caulfield, Suzuki, and that ends up wide and around the other way for Cirelli. Little trouble with it, but gets it under control and bounces it in.
The stick of J.J. Moser broke, but he'll take that. He did a good job of getting his stick in there on Suzuki, not allowing that shot to get through.
Now Gord feeding it to Gonzalez. Good pad stop. Rebound. Block. Another one. Stopped by Dovish. As the Lightning threaten to end it. Now Josh Anderson will play it deep into Tampa Bay territory. Passes in there against Chernak. Eric Chernak gets back up and has possession. An outlet here for James. Far side. Gage Gonzalez in. Knocked off his stick. Gord follows up. And Dovish with another clutch stop here early in overtime. Anderson will flip that to center. Evans looking for it. Declan Carlisle lays it back inside the line. Gord almost came up with it. Here's Anderson handing it off. Up ahead it goes off the stick of Demidov and deep. Laid ahead for check by Texier. Nick Paul on the move. Lilleberg. Caden Gooley around to the near side. Jake Gensel there for Tampa Bay. Braden Point trying to cycle it back for Paul. He misses short side. And that ricochets back down to Vasilevsky. Roll through it. Other line comes out. It's Oliver Kapanen out now, along with Doc and Bolduc. Up ahead, Gord trying to slide that through. Radish is up on the play. Bouncing in front, and the Canadiens up with it. And here's Doc firing that pass neatly to Hudson. Sends that wide of the net, out of the reach of Kapanen. Back the other way is James. Gord catching up. He's looked dangerous in overtime. And a chance here. Blocked. And a clutch play there by Alex Carrier.
Boy, what a start to this period. How about the saves for Jakub Dovish? Just doing a great job of tracking this puck. Rebound, gets set, able to react to it not once but twice and get himself up and in his good positioning. That's just an excellent start. The goaltender. And then your best ally there as Hudson does just a great job of getting across. That had potential, Chris, with not only the shot getting through, but you had two Tampa Bay Lightning driving, looking for any rebound if there was one.
Lightning now with a one-shot edge on the shot clock at 28-27. Slavkovsky across, and Kucherov got a stick on that. Caulfield to Suzuki. Whipping it in. Moser around. Pinching there was Carrier. Caulfield's got the puck. Here's Cole Caulfield back to Carrier. Dropping for Caulfield. Firing it. And that was blocked in front. And the puck skips out to center where Carrier will drift it back in. Radish up at center for Corey Perry. Moser. Dovish out. I believe everybody who's been in the game is
Sabrin's
in
out there
overtime.
again,
Sabrin's out there. All four Canadiens lines have played. And here goes Girgensons with Sabrin. And making the defensive play there was Deneau, stuck with him. Evans, an outlet to Hudson, his stick broke. It's Corey Perry with it. And a Gensel shot blocked. Back it comes to McDonough, cleared the debris. Gets it to point. Canadiens stuck with Lane Hudson without a stick, trying to stay with his man. McDonough for Gensel. Ryan McDonough holding on. Chernak, point. And Hudson try and stay with him without the stick. Chernak to the corner. Gensel, point, fires. Dobish with the save. And knocked the stick out of Corey Perry's hands, but that's a big whistle and stoppage for Montreal.
Boy, you'd love to have a heart rate monitor for Hudson right now, wouldn't you? You're looking to make a play. He's got his head up, and all of a sudden just extinguishes in his hands. He chooses to allow the forward with the stick to go down low. And how about this stops and starts? You try to follow Braden Point around, make sure you don't take a penalty. Just mirror him and allow the other four guys who all have sticks to try to be in a position to make a play. Actually survived it pretty well. And again, Dobish, critically, Chris, able to hold on and not allow a rebound.
Nobody's played more than Hudson at 27:53. Dobish sends it ahead, and away goes Demidov. Bouncing it in and chasing after it against Lilleberg. Gonsalves up the boards. Gord with an outlet. Knocked off the stick of James, and now moving up is Declan Carlisle. The sixth defenseman venturing deep into Montreal territory. It'll be James across. Here's Lilleberg in, trying to duck away from a check. Back to Gonsalves, covering the point. Carlisle across. Lilleberg watched by Demidov. Taken down with James. He's slow to get up here at the side of the Montreal net. Pile up there along the boards. And the Canadiens get control.
And Newhook got him up high. He was trying to draw a high sticking call, didn't get it.
An aerial just inside the Lightning line, played right back out. Hagel trying to turn away from Suzuki. A quick pass to Slavkovsky. Suzuki with him. And it's off a stick and onto the screen. And we played 6:04 of overtime.
Boy, penalties have played such an important role in this series already. Here's the play in front is James, and he gets the stick up right underneath the chin. James tries to get the call, wasn't able to get it. Definitely looked like there was contact. You could see the official in the corner. He's looking the other way, didn't see it. I think they're having a quick conversation. If you got a cut on James, I think the linesman just making sure the face-off's in the right place. Nobody missed anything. Key draw here, Chris, as everyone in the offensive zone is, isn't it? Opportunity to end the game with one quick win.
34-31 Lightning tonight, but the Canadiens get possession off that face-off and knock back out to center. Slavkovsky scored at 1:22 of the overtime period on Sunday night. We're going to go deeper into the night tonight. Bouncing puck, and Suzuki unable to handle it. Ties up Radish. Slavkovsky joins the fray. Here's Kucherov maintaining possession. Over the line, Hagel with Cirelli. Link wide, Kucherov. Hudson takes a look. Cirelli quickly on him. Knocked behind the net for Carrier. And Hudson, dogged forechecking here by Hagel and Cirelli. Moser steps up. Now Gensel after it. Slavkovsky back to Hudson. Off the boards ahead, and that gets chipped to the Lightning line. Chernak for Moser. Slavkovsky cut him off, taken away by Point. Here's Gensel shooting right on. A big rebound that gets past Caulfield. Here's Moser sending it to the net. That sticks to Dobish. As they clear the front, and Chernak was in front of the net, and he gets escorted out of there by Carrier.
Well, Chernak trying to get a piece of that one for a deflection in front of Dobish, but you've mentioned it a couple of times. The D not afraid to jump in, and as he's in there, he wants the puck. Come on, I got great positioning. Well, the puck came, but he wasn't able to get a piece of it, and then the end, the push and the shove. Boxing out in another really, seems like a simple play for Dobish, but a really important one. You know, you absorb that and make sure there's no second chance there. You could see this period's been dominated, at least shot-wise, by the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, 5-0 in favor of the Lightning here in the fourth period of the game. Williberg up ahead. Gergensons and went off a Canadian at a delayed offside.
Yeah, if you could hear the linesman was yelling to try to get going. I don't think Evans was really worried about it. Just didn't want to leave anything to chance. Stayed in there, and there was contact made. Boy, how about John Cooper again, Chris? Sabrin getting a chance to play. I know you trust a guy like Perry with over 240 playoff games, but Sabrin getting some overtime opportunities.
Perry sends it in. That took a funny off. Remembers bounce. Creates a chance. And Perry looks skyward.
Hey, I'm telling you again, just the awareness of Dobish should not go unrecognized. When it's a shot up high, goaltenders are going to stay in the net. Why? Because of this. You never know. But look, he's able to track it. He even taps his post hard to make sure that he's in good position. You know, if you're not as mentally focused as you have to be, you might get a little lazy, you might get a little late on your tracking, and that could have resulted in a goal against. Great read early on, great saves early on here by Dover.
There is one player who's not seen overtime, and that's Arbor Jackeye. His partner, Jaden Struble, has played a minute 56 in overtime. Here's Matheson, who took a hit, was a little slow to get up, but Matheson with the puck. Up ahead, Anderson. Anderson with the first goal of the series, but loves to score the final goal tonight. Hudson back in his own zone. Lane Hudson. Deflected deep by Bolduc. After this, Kapanen. Cycled around for Gonzalez. Lilleberg ahead. That gets past Gord and down, and that's an icing call. By the way, Lilleberg has a brother who played in Norway, the longest professional overtime game ever. They went 8 overtime periods.
Well, you see, as soon as that icing went, no hesitation. Top line is right out there. You've got Struble and Hudson, who have played together so often through the year. An opportunity to try to end it here.
Big face-off. Linesman Andrew Smith to drop it in between Gord and Suzuki. And a clean win for the Canadiens captain. Slavkovsky behind the net gets Caulfield. Hit there, Suzuki. Tied up by Carlisle, but works it to the point. Across, it's Lane Hudson. His shot hits Suzuki en route. And up ahead, it's Gord. On the move is Dominic James. Yanni Gord. James with a huge stop. James had room, and then he didn't. Offside at the line, and we get a chance to admire the biggest stop of the night for Jakub Dobish.
Well, how about the interaction between Gord and James? They do a great job of crisscrossing, a bouncing puck, hard to control. Crisscross, a little confusion on the defense, and bouncing right across. What a save coming across again by Dobish. As mentioned, how visually he's been able to track the puck. Tough play for James to make as that one bouncing and rolling. You can see the cut on his lip. That should have been a penalty there. That's why I was wondering when the linesmen and the referees were talking. Linesman could have called that penalty a 4-minute.
What a moment that would have been for James to score his first Stanley Cup playoff goal.
think you'd remember that one, wouldn't you?
Yep.
In overtime.
How about Mark Jankowski last night? The greatest moment of his life, and they took it away from him. New hook on the forecheck. Puck trapped by Demidov. He'll center it. That seemed to hit Vasilevsky and didn't get to the intended target. McDonough hounded there by Demidov. Some good work. But out comes Point. Slaloming through center. Dropping it off. Kucherov in front. And he played that in behind. Chernak, who jumped again. Around for Kucherov. He'll swing it to the net. Kind of a no-look shot. Aiden Gooley. And now Jake Evans ahead. Evans gets rid of it to the Tampa line. Right back in Gonzalez. Checked by Carrier. Anderson can't get loose. And James came back. He got knocked off stride there. There's Carlisle. Finished by Anderson. In after it is Gord. Gooley tying him up. Gonzalez looks to center. Back to the line. And just out. And Moser got hit by Anderson after the whistle. And that'll draw a crowd.
Well, you're not going to see the kind of action, Chris, we saw in the first period when it's overtime. But, man, you just don't want to even touch as the fans are reacting.
That was playing with fire, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. You know, don't give the official an opportunity to make the call. Here's the hard hits here. You know, continue to be a hard hit. I like this one. It's from the side. It's not dirty. But at the end here, the whistle's gone. Just why? Like, you dodged a bullet there, Josh Anderson. And the crowd is letting the officials know what they think about it.
Well, we passed the midway mark, so the shovels come out, and we get a chance to admire the work of Jakub Dobish, who's been the best Canadian in overtime.
Boy, he sure has. You know, one of the things he's done so well, okay, rebound he didn't control, but look at the control of his positioning afterwards. He's tracking where it's going. He's able to get square. He's coming out aggressively again, and that's really the way he has played throughout this series. I like the fact that he's not settling back. He's not a cautious goaltender. He had that one dump in, and he was able to track that one as well. Look at him even tap his post there to make sure he didn't lose his net. You know, he's playing like a veteran, even though he is not. And this one, an absolute beauty as well. Gord coming in, sliding across as quickly as he can to shut the door. And it's been a better overtime, don't you think, for the Tampa Bay Lightning? They've controlled most of the play, but Dobish shots are, 8-0. For Tampa. I guess that's how you stay focused there, Chris, right? The little routines that you have as a goaltender.
I was going to say, he's a veteran now. He went to the right net for overtime.
Yes, that was good. Yeah, I almost wondered. I'm a superstitious guy. I might have made that little, go in again. We won last time when I did it.
I was going to say, Vasilevsky gave him a pass in game
one. Not the second time he would
not.
No. I love the fact that, an honest 24-year-old guy, he's felt really bad. He knows that a goaltender doesn't want another goaltender starting to work his crease and then have to play in it. Great interview by Kyle after the Game 1 win in overtime with him.
Especially when you do it to your idol.
Yeah, someone you look up to. Boy, he hasn't been intimidated, though, has he? And look at the routine. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what part of the game you're in. It looks like that's your warm-up. And here we are in period number 4.
Didn't have to make a save in overtime on Sunday night, but 8 so far tonight. 31 saves in the game. 25 for Vasilevsky. Next goal wins. Hudson ahead for Caulfield. It ripped wide. Hudson racing for it. One hands it to that's a glove by Slavkovsky.
Well, he's fortunate there.
Yeah, didn't go over the glass.
I thought that was going over the glass. That would have been a penalty.
Even Hudson, the one-handed swing, lofted it a bit. And nothing intentional, but it doesn't have to be a penalty. Here's Hudson red line, and it hits the back of Radish. trying to spring Kucherov. Puck pinballing around. Cirelli slowed up by Matheson. Wayne Hudson again. Works it across. It's Slafkovsky on his off wing. In against Moser. Back to the line. That shot is knocked down. Here's Paul trying to feed it ahead. Off Carrier. Slafkovsky. Bolduc unable to reach that. Nick Paul. Out along with Point and Gensel. And the Canadiens are out. Slafkovsky into a shift. He'll get it deep to get off. They've got him. Paul along the boards, works it back, and Chernak has a little room on the far side. Up ahead, Gensel. Doc comes back and plays it for Carrier. Into the middle, and that'll be tipped deep by Bolduc, who heads off. Kapanen sees the change underway, and he heads off, and Dominic James got a little extra room to wheel. He's a speedster across, and that shot blocked. Alex Newhook with the defensive play. Now Doc flipping that in. That's too much, and it goes for icing with 7:18 remaining in the first overtime period.
Well, again, just a close call here. As you said, Hudson does a great job of getting there first, but man, you got to be careful that throw the hand up. James showing that great speed. You know, you think of the injury looked like he had in game one, didn't think he would come back. He did later in that game, and he shows why he's in the lineup. A little bit extra speed and energy for John Cooper.
Montreal won 61% of the draws game one. Tampa Bay 51% of the draws in game two. And a big one there by Cirelli. Here's J.J. Moser shooting, scores! J.J. Moser is his first, and the Lightning have tied the series. An unlikely hero tonight. First ever Stanley Cup playoff goal. And the Lightning and Canadiens will head to Montreal dead even.
What do coaches always say? Play with a purpose. You have a face-off. You try to get a set play. And Moser just took it into his own hands. Just a beautiful win here. A little pick there by Kucherov. A backhand. You back up the line, and you've got his defensive partner in Radish setting a pick for him on the other side. Watch the rotation. Radish goes all the way down. Moser, the second defenseman, goes down with him. And an absolute bullet of a shot up and over, off the post and in, and just like that, Tampa, who had lost 7 overtime games in a row, 1-12 to this point, get a huge overtime win to tie this series at 1.
Moser from Cirelli, who won that faceoff. 12:48, time of the overtime goal. Game 3 on Friday with the series tied at 1 apiece. Here's David Amber.
Wow, dramatic series so far. We needed overtime in both games. 1, Slafkovsky. Game 2, J.J. Moser. Great to have you along in what is now a best-of-5 heading back to Montreal for Game 3 on Friday. In fact, the Habs were outshot 9-0.